Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So RWBY Volume 7, Chapter 5 is out, and let's go ahead and get into this. So, I will say this. When it shows that screen of Atlas, the Academy, I don't know if anybody noticed, it looks like Curzon from Star Wars. Does anybody ever notice that? I just wanted to point that out at the very beginning. It looks like they're at Curzon. Just saying. Anyways, so there's this big montage. So essentially, the first third of this chapter is literally just a montage. Them trying to keep the Grimm out of Atlas. You gotta keep them out of the wall. But here's my big question. You see this huge border. Why were the Grimm able to get in Chapter 1? This is something that doesn't make any sense to me. Did somebody just open the gates to the wall and go, hey, just run on in, just go on in there, just attack? That doesn't make any sense to me. This is why I still say the White Fang should have been the antagonist for this entire volume. But hey, had they not been terribly written off, this wouldn't have been an issue. But yeah, whatever. And then there is the moms of Atlas, and they are thirsty. But clearly they are desperate because, well, they're into a guy like Jean. I mean, have you looked at Jean? I mean, seriously, with his new douchebag haircut, they must be really desperate. And here's the thing. Not only this, they have to go and justify this terrible, terrible hairstyle. Because while you see the women being all over Jean, within the scene that happens right after that, you then have Nora justifying it by saying, it's the hairdo. It must be the hairdo. And I'm just thinking, no, it's desperation. It must be the desperation, because you couldn't have more of a self-insert with Jean's character, am I right? But here's one thing I will say. It seems that whenever they were training, Stretch Armstrong versus Jean had an idea. And the idea was, how about you stretch out your aura? So apparently it seems like what they're doing here is that they are going to try to make it to where Jean starts to do this with his aura as well. So this is something it seems like that they're going to work on for Jean in the future, which I gotta say, he needs something because Jean as a character is just, he's the guy that's really lacking, also in the hair department. Did I mention how much I don't like his hair? But of course, Team Funky also is back, so they did bring back Team Funky. I was afraid they were going to forget about them, so I have to say I'm at least glad to see that they did bring them back. That's one thing I will definitely give them. I thought that they totally just forgot about Team Funky, but we did at least get to see the two other members, one of them being a bootleg Bruno Bucciarati, and then the other one, being Cobalt. And I'm at least glad to say that we got to finally see the rest of their team and that they came back. I mean, I have to at least give it that, because the writers forget so many things, they retcon so many things, there's so many inconsistencies with the series, but, that's a little bit of a good thing. I mean, it's not enough to, say, oh man, best chapter ever. No. But it's at least good to see that they remembered something like this, because I was certainly sure that they were going to forget about Team Funky. And I will say this, I am not really a big fan of Neon Cat's new design. I am personally more of a fan of her older design. I mean, I understand what they were trying to go for here, with her hair being more like cat ears, but I think the older design does it better for Neon Cat than this new one. But that's a personal opinion there, so, that's just my thoughts on it. Then, of course, we get to see the Arctic tundra, and we get to see penguins. No, seriously, Zwei's not alone anymore as the only animal, because now there are 2 penguins within the RWBY universe. So, total animal count of 3 now. A dog and 2 penguins. Alright, so, there's actually animals outside of Zwei. Good confirmation. Then, of course, RWBY and Penny's conversation wasn't really all that wholesome. It was just basically the same thing it's been since volumes 1 through 3. Penny doesn't have any friends because now she's the hero of Mantle. But, that's the thing. It just is the same thing for Penny. It's really nothing new. No emotional conversation, nothing. And then, of course, I'm going to say it, Clover is that guy that I think is going to be a traitor. He is trying to get information out of Crow. He's being very nice. Like I said, he's too perfect at it. He's definitely up to something. There's no way he's not. And by being too nice, he's too suspicious. It's obvious. It's just very obvious to me. So I am not going to be at all surprised if Clover turns out to be like a double agent or something like that. No shock at all whatsoever. And he did say to Crow that your niece is something special, isn't she? He's digging for information, clearly, and it just makes me more and more suspicious of the guy. But Robin Hill. So Robin Hill is the character that is running for council besides Jacques. She's running against him, which, good God, we all know that's the most interesting plot line. Oh, God. Politics, man. Who cares? Like, who cares about that? But Robin Hill, she is there also trying to figure out why they are going to Amenity Arena and why they're taking the materials that Mantle needs to try to protect their border. Then, of course, you have Clover here, who tells Robin to stop antagonizing huntsmen and huntresses that are coming by with the material. And, of course, Robin didn't seem too friendly with that because her whole plan this entire time was to actually attack their vehicle and take back the materials. So, of course, performing an illegal act. And since she's based on Robin Hood, it's not really a big surprise. And then, of course, they find out that there were actually some of her own followers that were going to attack from behind. And here's the funny thing. There's only 2 of them. There's only 4 total, but 2 that were hidden. You would have thought there would have been an army, and Penny's like, oh yeah, there's just 2 hiding behind rocks. It's like, really? This is all you can come prepared for in terms of trying to take a vehicle from people that work for Atlas soldiers, or huntsmen that could be working for Atlas? Like, really? That's all you come prepared for? I mean, that's pretty bad if you had to ask me. And, of course, they go ahead and let them go through. But here is the thing. Why didn't they just arrest her, though? This is an illegal act. I don't understand this. This is something that just doesn't make any sense to me. And, you would think, considering that she is performing an act like this, that, yeah, they would arrest her for trying to steal from Atlas as well as trying to steal from huntsmen. But apparently not. Also threatening, because, she was threatening to rob them. So you would think that this would be enough for her to get arrested, and no, apparently not. I don't really get it. But overall, what is my first thought of her character, first impressions here? I don't really care for her. I mean, obviously you can tell that she is based off Robin Hood, but Robin Hood was more endearing, and while you could say Robin Hood's way of doing things was immoral, he was doing it for moral reasons, to help the poor. Now, in terms of this, yeah, you would think that Clover would have just arrested her on the spot, but apparently not. Apparently she can just get away with it anyways. And Clover, he's just a suspicious guy. I'm still just getting these suspicious vibes, as I stated, and I just think that he's going to be a traitor along the way in the future. I just feel like it's coming. But overall, though, when it comes to Robin Hill, the first impressions here, I really don't like her character. I just don't. And not only is she based off of Robin Hood, but she's also supposed to be based off of Hillary Clinton as well. You can clearly tell, I mean, the whole election stuff, this whole political nonsense, yeah, it's very obvious what they're trying to do here. And the Happy Huntsman, the Sheep Girl's got the best design, definitely. Definitely got to give it to the Sheep Girl, at least. All right, so then the next part is really more or less the biggest part of this chapter. So going into this, we see some training. We see a summoned Armagigas against a summoned huge Beowulf. And of course, the Armagigas gets beaten. And it seems that Winter came out as the victor. Well, we actually get to see best girl Artoria talk to her older sister Winter about... Wait a minute. Wait, hang on. This is RWBY. Oh, sorry, I got Weiss mixed up with Artoria because they just look so similar. Oh, I'm so sure they stole that design. Yeah, it feels like it. But no, seriously, when it comes down to the talk between Weiss and Winter, the one thing I really have to say about this is they did this really well. Now, let me explain what I mean by this is actually done well. The one thing that has been actually done poorly, in my opinion, in all of RWBY, is really trying to convey that sisterly bond between 2 characters. Because when you see Weiss and Winter actually talk here, of course, Winter does try to give some good advice that she's learned over the years to Weiss, but at the same time, if you think about the relationship between Winter and Weiss here, this feels actually genuine. this actually feels real. It feels like a real bond between two siblings. Now, if you were to take the whole idea of Ruby and Yang as sisters, Ruby and Yang being sisters, they certainly don't act like it. Oh, it's sad but true. Oh, but the thing is, with this conversation between Weiss and Winter, what is good with this is the fact that Winter is trying to come up with a solution, and because she denounced the Schnee name, and she was taken in by Ironwood, joining the Atlas military made Winter feel like she had purpose, that she had freedom from the ties of her family in the Schnee Dust Company. And with this idea in mind, she decides to propose to Weiss that, hey, maybe joining the Atlas military is the way for you to go. Maybe this is the best thing. And, while this may not have been the best answer, this is definitely a good one. And I can see how, while she is being conservative with her own thoughts and trying to fully express herself because she doesn't really show her feelings, her emotions, she really isn't one to have her own feelings held on her shoulders, but rather she is one to just kind of hold them in. And the way that she does this with Weiss, how she's talking to her here, it's very endearing. And, it doesn't feel like it's forced. It actually feels like a good relationship between two sisters. This feels actually like family. Now, the one thing that Weiss does that I thought was not very good was the fact that she tries to put doubt within Winter. She tries to tell her that, how can you trust Ironwood whenever he's hiding secrets? That's the thing. Trust is something that is built up. And, when you get to that point within life, when you learn to trust people, you understand that some secrets, they are kept for reasons, but for good reasons. And that people don't have to just tell you every single last thing they do. Gradually over time, trust builds between two people if, obviously, they do provide that trust. They provide that sense of, hey, I can trust you. Respect as well. And with Winter, of course, she's learned to trust and respect Ironwood. And in turn, he trusts and respects her as well. That is a good thing. And that means that not everything has to be told. It's not like Ironwood is going to go over there and be like, hey, so here is my past marriage. Here's all the problems with it. No, it doesn't have to be like that. Not everything needs to be known amongst everyone. Nobody is going to know more about anybody else but themselves. And everybody themselves hide secrets. This felt kind of more like a RWBY thing. RWBY herself would be more of one to do this because, she's the one trying to keep secrets from Ironwood because why not, right? Just lie. And, it kind of feels like this point, RWBY's kind of made an effect go on to Weiss, and Weiss is just kind of following RWBY, who is following Ozpin, who is acting the way Ozpin is. But essentially, Weiss is just planting seeds of doubt into Winter, which shouldn't be happening. She should know better than that. And come on, Weiss, what are you doing? What are you doing? But, that's the thing. What I like about this next is that Winter continues to confide in Weiss here about her being the Winter Maiden, which I'm just going to say this right now. Winter becoming the Winter Maiden. This is just... yeah. Here's what I gotta say about that. For one, Winter will more than likely become the Winter Maiden, and then of course that will lead on to potential death flags for Winter. It's a scary thought. It's something that I theorize on because, we remember what happened with Volume 3, and it seems like they're really kind of pointing things to be like Volume 3 all over again, because that's what it's really feeling like. Of course, with Pyrrha, obviously the Fall Maiden, Amber, was revealed to her, and, so on and so forth, leading on to Cinder getting all the powers, and, the fall of Beacon as well. It just feels like we're getting a complete redo of the volume. It's like we are getting from the fall of Beacon now to just the fall of Atlas, just kind of going within a very similar method of what basically the fall of Beacon was. It's just essentially kind of in the sense the same plot, but also just some differences, because that's the way it feels like it's being built up at this point. And that's just what it really feels like here. And, the other thing is that when it comes to the Winter Maiden, all right, so she is an old woman. Her name is Freya, which goes back to a Valkyrie, which is strange because since she's based off of a Valkyrie, she may be related to Nora. Could be her grandmother, something like that. And we do know that Nora's going to get a backstory, so that would be kind of cool if there was a relation here. But here's the thing that really did aggravate me, was the whole issue with Jacques, because this is seriously Schneeman bad. I mean, this is nothing more than a political reference to Orange Man bad. Basically just making Jacques be the Orange Man, and because he's running against Robin Hill, who is literally the stand-in for Hillary Clinton, yeah, this is nothing more than a political reference and nothing more than them to take jabs at. And for them to force this in, it's just frustrating. It's just completely frustrating. And it doesn't really give Jacques his own character, rather just nothing more than a reference to a person and not his own character. I mean, he's been very hot-headed. He is just someone to try to manipulate the scene, which, of course, during his speech, he was trying to manipulate others. This does not provide Jacques his own character, rather than Jacques just basically being a ripoff of an actual person and something for Rooster Teeth to just take jabs at. And I will tell you right now, this is the thing in the chapter, besides the Robin Hill whole political mess of that, this is the other thing that really frustrated me about this chapter, because it's just Rooster Teeth not even trying to hide their political wokeness. They are just doing their best to push in politics into entertainment. So, what would I give this chapter? I would say it's a 6.5 out of 10. Now, there are things that I like and things that I dislike. As I was saying, I mean, the montage, I mean, it was just filler, essentially. I mean, that's really what it was. But the Weiss and Winter conversation, a lot of it was good. I mean, it actually did something that RWBY has had a problem trying to execute, because they have not executed really family bonding very well. I mean, I guess maybe the best thing would be like Crow and Ruby as uncle and niece, and it's been kind of like a father-daughter kind of relationship, because Crow has been like the cool uncle. But the thing of it is, when it comes to Winter and Weiss, they've done a very good job here at making it feel like it was an actual relationship between two sisters. It made it actually feel like an actual family kind of ordeal, and I do like that. I think that that was probably the best part of this chapter, while there were some issues more so on Weiss' side, kind of planting seeds of doubt into Winter towards trusting Ironwood. But aside from that, I think that was a really good part for this chapter. Now, in terms of some of the issues that I had with this chapter, now, while the montage was okay, the biggest issue I had with it was the audio, because it really just kind of overlapped. I mean, you're trying to listen to the characters talk, but the audio of the song just seemed like it was on par with the audio of the voice acting, which made it hard to understand when the characters were talking. So I was at one point listening to this and thinking, okay, well, I hear this, I hear the characters talking, and then I'm like, wait, what did he say? And then I gotta go back. Or what did she say? Gotta go back. Just to make sure I could understand what I'm hearing, and that was one issue I had. The next big issue, I cannot stand the political narrative that Rooster Teeth is trying to push. This is absolutely frustrating, and for it to push the plot along, this could have been done a lot better without that, and considering that they had to make Schneeman bad was something that really infuriated me, because there's no reason for it. I mean, okay, you want to make Jacques a bad guy, that's fine, but let him be his own character, not a reference to someone else. Let him be his own character. And I stress it enough that there is enough politics in entertainment, and the politics just needs to go. It doesn't need to be in entertainment, and Rooster Teeth clearly doesn't get that. They are just trying to push their political narrative. They do not care, and it's something that would have made the chapter a whole lot better had it not been in at all. If that was not here at all, yes, would have been better, wouldn't have had so much of an issue. And Robin Hill, they could have just straight up arrested her for her illegal acts. I mean, she threatened and was going to rob them. Seriously. Could have clearly arrested her on the spot, but apparently not. So, this chapter, it's better than last week, but there were issues with it, so it gets a 6.5 out of 10. But anyways, I will be back again on Tuesday. Let me know what you think about this entire chapter down below. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, follow me on Discord, the link is in the description down below, and share the video if you found this informative or useful. Well, anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today, and remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow can always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.